Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Once again, welcome to the Vicente Soto Lecture Series. For those who have only recently joined us, this series focuses on Cebu's literary, cultural, and historical heritage. Over the past 2 years, we've had the privilege of learning from esteemed researchers and writers on various aspects of Cebuano studies, including pre-war Cebuano fantasy novels, special research archives, Cebuano Christmas traditions, local cinema studies, and Cebuano poetry, history, and traditions. Today, we are honored to introduce our esteemed guest, Ms. Joanna Lynn Gabales, who will be imparting valuable insights. Before we delve into the discussion, let's warmly welcome Mr. Jose Antonio Dasig, who will formally begin today's proceedings.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Warm and heartfelt welcome to every one of you as we gather here today for the 12th and last installment of the Vicente Soto Lecture Series for the year 2023, which was organized by the Cebuano Study Center of the University of San Carlos. So, to give you a bit of background, the Cebuano Study Center is at its heart a research center for all aspects or on all aspects of Cebuano culture. It functions as a special library to house various source materials on Cebu, as well as the predominantly Cebuano speaking areas in the country. It is also, again, a research center devoted to studies on Cebu, specifically in the areas of humanities and the social sciences, while also acting as a special office that assists in the promotion of Cebuano culture and the arts. So throughout the years, the Cebuano Study Center has played an active role in enhancing cultural awareness within the Cebuano community, not only through its functions as a public library and a center of educational activities, but also through the assistance it has extended to local governments and the various community associations. So indeed, the Cebuano Study Center stands as a beacon of dedication towards research and preservation in its unwavering commitment to the Cebuana culture. One such example of that commitment is the Vicente Sonto lecture series, the monthly lecture series, revived under the directorship of Dr. Hope Sabat-Banyu. So the monthly lecture series aims to add to the discourse on Cebuano culture, arts, and history. So with these lectures, the center hopes to make the rich cultural heritage of Cebu more visible to the general public, and hopefully to also create avenues wherein people can discuss with various esteemed speakers about Cebuano studies. So today we have the honor to listen to a lecture from one such expert steeped in knowledge about Cebuano culture and literature, Ms. Joannaline P. Gabales, who will be discussing her paper entitled Mandingkaria's Advice to Young Women from Panid ni Mandingkaria, the advice column of Maria A. Cabigon in the Bisaya magazine. So we hope that through this lecture, you, our dear viewers, gain a deeper appreciation for Cebuano identity. On behalf of the Cebuano Study Center, I welcome you all today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jose, for the gracious welcome. Now, we've reached the much anticipated segment of our event. I want to emphasize that following the presentation, we'll have an open forum, offering you the opportunity to actively participate by posing your questions. Feel free to utilize the chat box to submit your inquiries as the lecture unfolds, and we'll address them during the interactive session. Without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Joellen P. Gabales is a teacher, researcher, writer, and translator. She has taught literature, humanities, and communication courses in senior high school and in college. Her research interests include Cebuano literature, heritage, and culture. She writes poetry in English and Cebuano. Her poems were included in the anthologies published by the USC Cebuano Study Center. She is a member of the literary groups Mga Anak sa Dangang Incorporated and the Women in Literary Arts Cebu. She has done technical and literary translations for different organizations and is a member of a group of translators, the In Other Words. Please help me welcome Miss Gavales.
Thank you very much, John and Zhao. Good morning to everyone who is logged on right now, who has registered. And later on, greetings also for those who will watch this the recording for this one later on in the social media outlets of the Cebuano City Center. I would like early on, I would like to thank the Cebuano City Center, the organizers of the Vicente Soto Lecture Series. I'm the last within the year, which for me is, it's great. I'll be like sort of like putting on the like they say, save the best for last. I don't know, maybe. But I'm glad that even I was able to catch up, within the year, to present my paper on my beloved Mandinkaria. And so, without any further ado, may I start my presentation? Okay, so I'd like to share screen first. May take a while because okay. Doesn't happen. Okay, here we go. Remove this window thing. Give me a minute. It's not even doing full screen. Okay. Did you see that? I suppose this one is covering something is left side, isn't it?
It's clear on my end.
Again, please.
It's clear on my end.
Like everything is clear on the screen.
Yes, miss.
Like no black spots or rectangles or anything.
Yes. So
Okay.
clear. Yeah.
So that is good. Finally, it's cooperating. I mean, my laptop is cooperating. All right. And so we begin. Mandinkarya's advice to young women. To begin with, who is Mandinkarya? One luminary of Cebuano literature during a period called collectively as the Golden Age of Cebuano letters, that is within the year 1900 to 1940, is Maria Alcordo Cabigon. You will note that I spell my Cabigon here with a K because in the later part, she did spell it with a K, although at times, or the earlier writings, she spelled hers with a C. But anyway, she was born in Karkar, Cebu on January 14, 1878. She was once described as an institution and was voted the most popular Cebuano woman writer in the period before the Pacific War. This honor stemmed from two reasons. One, the number of written works she contributed in the pages of Cebuano periodicals. And two, her role as an agony aunt or advice columnist for the column Panid ni Mandinkarya in the Bisaya magazine. For the latter role, she was dubbed as the Visayan Dorothy Dix. Although she had very little formal education, her love for reading and writing was fostered by an aunt who tutored her. In her teens, she wrote and produced a play for a fiesta in her hometown. But her career as a writer was cemented in 1902 when Vicente Soto, and so this is the Vicente Soto connection, published in Ang Suga her first short story, Ang Gugma sa Inahan, or A Mother's Love. There is no copy of this story, however, no. So how I would have loved to see and read this first short story of hers, but there is no copy. To continue, she contributed hundreds of her stories in several articles in the local periodicals besides Ang Suga. She contributed to El Espectador, La Revolución, Nueva Fuerza or Bagong Kusog, El Boletín Katoliko, Nasod, Bulawan, Sidlakan, Ang Atong Kabilin, Pilipinhon, Kamya, Lungsuranon, and The Freeman, which was then also known as Ang Freeman. Kabigon later on became the associate editor of the first woman's magazine in Cebu, called Babayi, subtitled as Mantalaang Malinis Alang sa Panimalay, or a wholesome magazine for the home. She had established herself as a writer before other notable Cebuano women writers emerged. Because of many of Kabigon's stories were printed in Babayi, readers responding to a survey organized by the magazine itself chose her as the first among the women short story writers. All right. During the period of Japanese occupation, publication halted for Kabigon as it did for many writers and for many publications. It was only during the post-war appearance of Bisaya that she began writing Panid ni Mandingkarya. On that note, I'd like to talk about a little bit about who Dorothy Dix is and why later on Mandingkarya was called the Visayan Dorothy Dix. Dorothy Dix is a pseudonym of Elizabeth Gilmer, who also wrote as an advice columnist, and her popularity as such gave the Bisaya magazine editor at the time the idea of running a similar column for the magazine, which was revived in 1946, as mentioned earlier. He convinced Kabigon, already 68 years old at the time, that her capacity for crafting stories with a human touch made her the ideal agony aunt. Thus, to a generation of avid Bisaya readers, she was everyone's wise aunt from whom they would seek counsel. Bisaya would then print as many as 29 advice column entries per issue. When I say advice column entries, I am referring to the pair, no, the letter which poses the problem and Maria Kabigon's answer. So that would be one entry. And one issue of the Bisaya that ran the Panid ni Mandingkarya would have as many as 29 problems posed or letters. You know. She wrote until her death in 1962. She died sometime in March of 1962. But even after that, there were still issues after that ran the column because she sent Bisaya many replies to letters. No? So they ran the column until they ran out of entries from Mandingkarya. But it was until sometime in 1962. Kabigon's works have been studied by in two graduate studies. These are Purificación Navarro Lims, a critical study of the educational value of the writings of Maria Kabigon in 1954, and Lelani Cuyu's use towards gynocriticism, a study of the selected fiction of 4 Cebuano women writers, one of which is Kabigon herself. Both studies focus on her 100+ short stories published in several Visayan periodicals, but not on her advice column. This presentation is part of a larger study titled Sa Kumpas sa Kamot ni Mandingkarya, a holistic study of the place of Maria Kabigon in Cebuano writings. This study examines Kabigon's writings as an advice columnist, its topics and the themes, whether the content of the said column complement, reinforce, or have an impact on her short stories written before, during, at the same time during she wrote the advice column. The giving of counsel in an advice column is itself didactic, and the idea that Maria Kabigon used her advice column as a material or a source for her short stories is not different, or that her journalistic writings reinforce the themes already expressed in her stories. Her stories can be extensions of the act of giving advice, as Maria Cabigon continued to take on the role of teacher of morality through her stories. The similarities in the function of her two types of writings are give the idea that one form of writing supports the other and vice versa. The phrase kompas lang is a phrase that Maria Cabigon often used in her advice. In a dictionary of Cebuano Visayan compiled by John Wolfe, the word kompas is an adjective meaning being in harmony or correct timing with something else. So that to be contra kompas means to be out of rhythm or tempo. Like when you say, contra kompas ang imong sinayawan. So you're not dancing in time to the music. As a verb, it means to conduct or to guide, much like the conductor of an orchestra who, through gestures, directs the rhythm of the music and guides musicians how to play. Compass also refers to the navigational gadget for determining directions. In an idiomatic sense, a moral compass is that which serves or guides a person's knowledge, sense, or intuition of correct virtues, morals, or ethics. I take these meanings of compass as analogies of Cabigon's role as a writer. By the work of her hand, that is her writing, she guided her readers to good manners and right conduct. As an advice columnist, Cabigon had provided the moral compass to many of her readers. Compass then can refer to the work of Maria Cabigon's hand that has contributed to Cebuano literature and has given her a place in Cebuano writings. In previous presentations, the focus was the pieces of advice Cabigon wrote to male letter senders. I have presented it several times. By the way, interestingly, majority of the letter senders in the column were male letter senders. In this presentation, however, I'd like to examine the topics of inquiry coming from female letter senders, especially young female letter senders, as well as the advice she gave to them. Just like the queries from male letter senders, there are questions about love and courtship. And so we begin. So in this letter, the sender had two sweethearts. I'd like to read the letter, of course. No? Manding Karya. Usa ako kadalagang batanon nga may jutang it. Natural, ani ay duha ka alibangbang nga naniba kanako. Ang usa hamtong na og kining lain batanon sama kanako. Apan kining batanon nga kaayo gwapo hinoon. Kining hamtong romantiko kaayo nan ang manindot kay gihigugma ko man silang duha. Kay pulos sab sila desidido nga makigminyo kanako. Unsay maayong buhaton manding kanang dili unta ako mabalaraw kay gilumpong ko man good silang duha. From Pade Masareno of Dumaguete. Tubag. Pade, talagsaon ikaw nga pagkababaye kay arisgada kang milumpong og hinigugma. Unsay maayong buhaton? Pikasa ka ng imong kasing-kasing og ihatag kanila aron matuman ang sanglitanan nga nag-ingon. Sa usa ka lawas nga dunay duruha kanawong dili ta ihibalag ang kaputli sa buhat. Alang kang manding, may maayo ang isalikway mo silang duha aron walay masilo kanimo. Ayaw hato-hatoa ang paghigugma kay tingaling tabi iski na unya ikaw. Right. So there's a Solomonic sort of Solomonic solution that she gave. In the next query, the dilemma was the same. Cabigon's advice is basically also the same. But notice how she worded the advice. So first, the problem. Dalaga ako, batanon pa. Daghang nagtrato nga nakuptan apan walay usa kanila nga nakaangkon sa tinuod kong gugma. Ani ay duruha nga ang usa graduado sa high, and yes, that's how they spell high for high school. Ang lain dili. Maurag tinuoray nga ako ning nahiuna. Apan may kaluoy ako ning ulahi kay kugihan. Hae maayo kanila. From Mercy Ganar of Misamis Oriental. Ang tubag, Mercy, nganaw naghigot ka og daghang langgam. Maayo gani kay wala ka hituhiki sa ilang mga sungo. Ug karon ana-ana sa duruha. Ay kanimo babae. Pagpili sa lain, bulagi ng duruha aron walay masilo kanila. So you take note of the images that she used in giving her advice. Another common dilemma that was asked is how to choose among many suitors. So this is also interesting because she has, well, as you will see, manding ako dalagang batanon nga ni ay daghang samukan. Right. I guess that's how they term the suitors, so samukan. And so she enumerates all those names. Kini sila gibalibaran ko apan mga hugot ang ilang tinguha kay wala manumbaling sa akong balibad. Tambagi ako niini manding. From Klaning, Abelia. Klaning, sustinihi kanang imong balibad kay sangkilo na gani kana sila sa kapuol sama sa tubig nga iyabo muhonob lang. Apan anha unya nimo maila kinsay tinuod nga nahigugma kay maoy magpabilin sa natad sa paninguha. Here is a letter of a very young letter sender. Take note of how the letter sender also affirmed Kabigon's popularity. Manding, dalaga ako, 14 pa. Diri sa among dapit ang Bisaya dagayod ang among maoy among kalingawan. Labot sa imong panid. Ano ni daghan nga mga sinulat nga nindot. May bayong pa nga nagsulat kanako, makigpenpal siya, apan unsay penpala nga nangamural man, tambagay ako kay tubagon ko ba siya? Tubagon ko ba siya? From Inday Maning. Inday, kung muliksi diha ang imong kasing-kasing, timailhan nga naka-like, oh, she's used that term, naka-like kaniya. Apan Inday, mga linghod pa intawon kamo. Patya una ang makina, iyabo ang gasolina. No? So again, she uses very beautiful, colorful language, metaphorical language in giving her advice. Take note that she is 14 years old and she says, linghod pa in town kamo. So, ayaw usa. Here, the lady asked if it was wrong of her to immediately accept her suitor. Right. Manding ani ay alibangbang nga naniba kanako. So okay, it's already established. So the suitor would be alibangbang or langgam, no? Sometimes she's specific as sunoy, no? Kay nahigugma man ako, gisugot ko dayon. Daotan ba ang akong nahimo? From Florencia. Flor, hinanali da ang imong gihimo. Lagmit ka nga malanag kay mukaon ka lang nga wa mo hibaloi kung panos ba ang kalanon. Tungod kay nahigugma? Florencia, ang gugma usahay makalanag kung imong ipaturagas. Next problem. This problem is related to being in a relationship. Now, the letter sender's sweetheart was extra amorous and she feared something would happen. Manding, dalaga ako, may hinigugma. Taod-taod na kining among panaghinigugma ay. Karon hilabihan na niyang pagkaromantiko. Niini nabugnaw ako tungod sa kahadlok nga unsa unya. Bulagan ko ba nga wala man siya'y kasaanan? Inday, ayaw bulagi dayon. Saknaha bahin sa inyong kaminyon kay kung mabalibad gani, maoy malig-on pasikaran sa imong pagbulag kanina. Walay maghulat kung walay mapaabot. The next letter sender was perplexed with another complexity of being in a relationship. Her relationship with her sweetheart who was also her classmate, got in the way of her studies. And so the problem. Manding, ako usa ka dalaga nagtungha sa Zamboanga Provincial High School. Dinhi ani ay akong trato nga gikahibalag ko sa among saring. Kahibulungan kay sukad sa among panagtrato, maglibog naman hinuon akong ulo. Pulpul na ako sa pagsabot sa basahon. Unsa kini Manding from Gania Silay. Take note that she's from Dipolog, Zamboanga. So the letter senders really come from a lot of places, Cebuano speaking places. Ang tubag, gipalabihan mo og lunod, nimog lunod sa bugas ang kulon. Nabusok hinuon og nahilaw ang imong linungag. Pagmatngon inday, niya nang gugma-gugma kay makapaso biya. Sa imong kaayuhan sa pagtuon, luagig jutay ang pagbati. Okay. This particular letter is a hint into other issues or other topics that Manding Karya talks about in later samples that I will show you. Next problem. The problem here was that her sweetheart was fooling around, but she still loved him. Manding dalaga ako, 20 na. Ani ay trato nga nagbinuang lang. Siya ra ba unta akong kinabuhi? Unsay imong ikatambag? Manding. Niini Manding. From Vivian. Vivian, ang kalipay sa panagtrato mao ang pagsinabtanay o pag-uyonay. Iyabo ang nagbinuang. So twice we hear her using the term iyabo to dump to dump the suitor or the sweetheart. So another common query is the matter of marriage, especially the question, when is the right time to marry? Right. So on the topic, here's the first letter. Usa ako ka dalaga, 24 na. Ani ay langgam na hapit na usab maggipod ang iyang pako kay 32 na. Og buot mo siba ning bulak nga ang gihay hapit na usab maluyloy. Okay. So 24 for them is old, no? Anyway. Unsa man tugutan ko sa pagsiba? O dispatsahon ba hinuon aron dili magsamok? Tambagi ako niini. From Pani of Bohol. Pani, ang hukom sa pagdawat o pagsalikway anaada sa imong kamot. Mga kamot. Ada-ada sa mga kamot nimo. Kung imo siyang gihigugma, dawata og pagminyo dayon kay andam na kanang inyong mga panuigon sa pagsagubang sa kinabuhing minyo. Apan kun wala mahigugma ayaw og wala mahigugma ayaw paghikog. All right, so interesting. All right, so we take note that the letter sender here is 24 years old, and of course, she's Manding Karya says she is already of age to get married. But of course, there are other considerations, and Manding Karya presented it to Pani. Compare this to a 14-year-old girl who asked the same question. Manding usa ako ka dumalaga. Again, 14 pa. Ani ay naghalad ka nako, 21 na siya. May trabaho na siya o ngutangdo gani ako sa iyang tuyo, mamalay siya dayon. Magduha-duha ako sa pag-uyon kay bata palagi ako. Labi na kay maurag supak ang akong amahan ning tuyo sa naghalad. May panahon gani nga kasigon ako sa akong amahan. Bisan nagsuti lang kami og naghalad. Sugton ko ba hinuon kami aron kami magminyo na lang. From Fe of Misamis Occidental. Inday. So aside from the image of a young plant, she also uses the term kuyabog, no? Kuyabog pa kaayo ikaw, dili pa sangkap ang imong mga pako. Kung mugula ka sa hawla, tukmon ka dayon sa iring kumagat. Kompas lang. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the first example of kompas lang. Ang maayo nga dili kagayod magpaduol ni anang sunoy nga tadhana. Ug ingna lang si undo nga maghulat una siya. Compare this again to another letter sender who is 19 years old when she asked the question. Lag ako, 19 pa, igo da akong nakatapos sa elementarya. Miundang kay wala nay magamit alang ngadto sa unahan. Karon ani ay namalayi kanako. Tinuyo ra ba? Magminyo na lang ako manding from Marcelina of Lopez Haina. Marcelina, pangita o nagbuhat nga takos hisapian aron makaabag ka sa imong bana sa panginabuhi. Panahon karon nga ang mga asawa kinahanglan dili magsalig sa ilang bana. Ang buot ipasabot nga moabag gayud. Here is a lengthier query to more or less the same dilemma. Kabigon's response is amusing and practical at the same time. Manding, himuot kaayo ako sa imong panid kay makalingaw og may pagtulunan. Ani ako, dalagang batanon, 18 pa. May trabaho na ako sa panahi og sa pagkulong. Kaugalingon namong shop. Ani ay mga sawa kanako dagkog security. Nagadawat og pension, may trabaho. Buotan, walay bisyo, daginutan, kugihan, og labaw sa tanan, matinahuron. Alright, so she lays out all the cards already for Manding. To see, apan magulang nako siya napulo ka tuig kay 28 na siya karon og dili gwapo, dili usab hinuon nangilad og dagway. Aron dili kuno ako mabalaka ang akong ikahatag ang akong kulang man dire. Ang akong wagtang ani. Ang akong kita, there you go. Ang aking mo ni. Ang akong kita as somebody who does tailoring and kulong sa buhok na. Ihatag sa akong ginikanan og pasigihon pa ako pagtuon sa high. Again, high school. Karon isalikway ko ba kining dughan puno sa pagmahal kanako? Hulaton ko ang imong tubag. From Remedios. Remy, ang pisi sa iyang pasol may pagkadaan na. Apan dili gabok og labaw sa tanan ang paon na pulos og lamian. Kay aduna nagkalaing-laing matang sa lami ang mga sagol nga makadani sa isdang katambak. Ug kan anugon kung dili nimo kadto sa gupon. Sige, Remy. Alright, so Remy is a fish. Mukubit sa pasol, sa paon, which is referring to what the man can offer for her in the marriage. And so Manding says, sige, Remy. For another mature letter sender, this is Kabigon's advice to her problem with her parents about her relationship. Manding, dalaga ako. Hingkod na ang panuigon. Kining trato nako dili matulon sa akong inahan. Nagkasabot kami nga magpakasal og sekreto. Tapos tiini mo'y iyang pamalayi sa amo. Maayo ba kining paagiha? Tambagi ako, Manding. Interestingly, Manding says, Nene, maayo ka ng kartiyoha. Basin mo tagam ka ng mga ginikanang himili kaayo. In many other letters, Manding Karya also admonishes letter senders for being so himili, pilian, or choosy. And so that also goes for the parents. The parents cannot also be choosy. in this next letter, the letter sender was concerned about her own circumstances. The orphan girl is asking if getting married would be a better option. Manding, dalaga ako, 19 pa. Aniya ako magpuyo sa akong ina-ina. Patay na akong amahan nga wala magkasugid kun hain ang akong inahan. Gamay pa ako sa ilang panagbulag. Kining akong ina-ina nagminyo pag-usab ug ang kapait kay kining balayng among gipuy-an imbarguhon na sa RFC. Dili rabak ko gayud mooban ning ina-ina ko. Kung adunay mohonghong ka na ako, way arte-arte, maghinikog ako sa pakigminyo. From Inday Nene. And her reply would be, Inday, kung adunay maghalad kanimo nga maayog tuyo, o nga gihigugma nimo siya, labi na kung andam na si Undo, pagminyo dayon. Kung wala gani, pahigayon sa pagpuyo sulod sa imong kabanay. So, ayaw paghikog, in other words. Paghikog there would be in quotation. No? Here is another letter sender with the specific circumstance. As she grew older, she would like to marry. So, dalagang single. Manding, dalaga ako nga hingkod na ang panuigon. Kaniadto sa batanon pa ako, daghan ang nangulitaw kanako. Apan wala kanila ang ing nagmahay kay wala usa kanila nga akong gitugyanan sa akong gugma. Gipakaingon ko kadto nga sila mopadayon sa ilang paghalad apan gipamul-an man. So in this case, if you compare it to the previous advice nga ingon siya nga pamalibad sa tanan ang magpabilin mao to ang tinuod. In this case, gipamul-an tanan, so they all disibog tanan, no? They all stop their suits. Anyway, karon dako akong pagmahay, but to continue the letter. Karon dako ang akong pagmahay kay gipul-an na ako sa kinabuhi nga pagkadalaga. Gusto na unta akong magbinyo apan unsaon ko kini manding nga wala na may nangulitaw kadako from Andy. And the reply, Andy, mao kanay mahitabo sa babaeng tigpapresyo. Tingali himili ka kaayo kaniadto mao nga walay gihigugma mo ni adtong imong maghahalat. Apan Andy, ang kapalaran usahay mo abot diha sa dayon na natong saka sa katapusang ang-ang. Pulata lang basin mamatuod kini. Right. So there seemed to be an admonition at the beginning again, no, for being choosy. But at the later part of the advice, Manding calmly or gently tells her to be patient, no? In other words, if you use the common term that Manding uses, kompas lang. Some of these letters do not touch on courtship or marriage, but a more pressing query on a much different matter was also common. That is, about getting an education. This letter sender's sweetheart wanted to get married, but she wanted to continue her studies. Besides, getting married would mean disobeying her parents. And so the letter. Manding ako sa kadalaga nga hingkod na ang panuigon. Aduna ako'y hinigugma nga pagkahibalo sa akong ginikanan sa among kahimtang ila siyang gikasilagan. Kinahing akong hinigugma buot nang makigminyo apan gusto pa akong padayon sa akong pagtuon. Maayo ba, Manding, nga akong supako na akong ginikanan? From Rufina of Leyte. You will remember that in the previous letters, Manding Karya, when asked about whether it's time to get married, does not really object, except when, well, the letter sender is very, very young as 14 years old. But in the other many occasions, she says, "Go ahead if it's if you feel the same way with this guy, etc." But in this case, the problem posed is between getting an education or continuing with one's education and getting married. And what does Manding Karya say? Minahal kong higala, maayo mo padayon ka una sa pagtuon aron duna ka ing puhunan sa panginabuhi. Bahin ni anang imong hinigugma nga gikasilagan sa imong ginikanan, tingali may gisi ang iyang pagkatao. Pasursihi Rufina basin maremedyo. Kung wala, unsay mas ni ana from the two choices. Hulata nga musibog na ang baha aron dili ka mo ianod sa sulok. Okay. Here is another letter sender who could not focus on her piece because of her suitors. Manding ako usa ka batanong dalaga nga nagtungha sa Oroquieta, Misamis Occidental. Kining akong pagtuon wala na mahisulod sa akong ulo tungod sa daghang mananangkin. Kisangputan nakatrato gayud ako. Padayon ba ako pagtuon from Paz? Paz padayon inday sa pagtuon. Ang babayi kinahanglan gayud nga may kaalam kay mao kanay atong puhunan sa kinabuhi. This lady, despite financial difficulties, really wanted to continue her studies. Manding dalaga ako, 17 pa, og nagtungha sa ikatulong pang-ang-ang sa high, so third year high school. Naglisod ako ning akong pagtuon kay kabus kami og daghan ra ba kaming magsuon. Apan unsaon nga may gusto man gayud ako nga mutuon. Wala man gani ako magtagad ning daghang nagsamo kanako ni anang ilang gugma-gugma kay ang pagtuon lagi maoy nagpasulabi kanako. Unsay imong ikatambag ni ini Manding from Nene of Misamis Occidental. Nene, kanang imong panuigon mao ang panahon sa kahimsog sa panglawas. Sabton nga makabulig kaayo sa imong pagtuon ang pagkugi sa pagpangita unsang buhata ang hisapian. Pagbuhig mga hayop, pagtanom og mga lagutmon, sapi na kini sulod sa pipila lang ka bulan na lihok dayon. So even at this point, it's very clear that Manding really encourages the young women to attain education, even if it means going to work or pagpangita no og hisapian no. So pagbuhi og mga hayop to be sold of course later on. Pagtanom og lagutmon, why lagutmon of all things? Because definitely it's sure na nga mabaligya o sure pud nga motubo. This young woman wanted to continue her studies despite her parents' disagreement. This is something else, no? Okay. Manding dalaga ako, bata pa, og aniya magtungha sa unang ang sahay. Kini akong ginikanan dili buot nga magpadayon ako sa pagtuon. Kay ngilad ko no sa babayi ang hataas nga kaalam. Unsay akong buhaton? Magminyo na nga walay hibang kaagan sa kinabuhi. Tambagi ako ni ini Manding. Sorry. You will note nga she says, unsay akong buhaton magminyo nga walay hibang kaagan sa kinabuhi. Hibang kaagan sa kinabuhi. If you remember earlier on, Manding Karya would say something like, don't get married without kabang kaagan, hibang kaagan, no? So from this, it seemed that the letter sender here, which was sent in 1953, if you can take note, has noted what Manding Karya had said about similar problems, no? So it seemed that this letter sender is familiar with the same question and what Manding Karya has said about the problem, and so she uses the same words as, you know, walay hibang kaagan sa kinabuhi. Ang tubag, Fe, ingna ka ng imong ginikanan nga panahon karon nga kitang mga babayi makiindig na sa mga lalaki. May abogado, arkitekto ug daghan pang lain-laing silid nga mahuptan sa babayi karon. Padayon sa pagtuon. Another young woman wanted to get a higher education and go into a profession that is perceived as male-dominated. So, I'm really glad I found this particular letter and so the problem. Manding, usa ako kadalaga batanon pa ug aniya nakatapos na sa high. Ang akong pangandoy nga kurso mao ang radio operator. Mahimo bang babae man ako? Gusto ako mopanaw sa laing dapit. That means to travel, okay? Mopanaw sa laing dapit. Kung mahimo sa barko ko mag-radio operator, tambagi ako manding. From Pas, Bapalma. Pas, ning panahon sa kabaguhan ang mga babae sama na sa mga lalaki. Masundalo man gani sa panahon sa gubat, kanang imong pangandoy di kabilinggan sa imong pagkababaye. Busa padayon sa lakang ngadto. For the next problem, this 20-year-old woman was worried still about unemployment. Dalaga ako, 20 pa, ug motapos na sa high. Naglaro ako nga dili na lang mo kuhag kurso sa college. Apan kining akong amahan ug mga igsuon nagdasig kanako sa pagsigi kay aro ako kuno ang makatubos kanilang wala makatuon sa hataas nga kahibalo. Ang nagbugnaw kanako mao ang daghang hataas o kahibalo nga napasuok na lang kay walay mga trabaho. Magminyo o musigi ba? Tambagi ako mandig. Right. So I'm also glad that I found this problem or letter because it hits on another issue, social issue, no? Unemployment. It makes me wonder what is the level of employment or unemployment at that time. This was 1955. Tubag, Carmen, ang dalagang hataas o kahibalo labi nag-eksaminado sa serbisyo sibil may unang dawaton sa trabaho sa bisan asang buhatan. Kanang ginganlag cargo de responsibilidad ang babae may unang piyalan. Kaya ang babae ugod may pagka-honest man. Tinuod ba? Busa, sige sa pagtuon unya na ang kaminyoon. So, sige sa pagtuon. This next one already had her plans laid out, but still consults Kabigon regarding her being a working student. So it's clear that the letter sender has a clear plan, but still, no. And this is what makes us see how Manding is really beloved and really looked up to by these letter senders. Manding, dalaga ako. 16 pa. Igo da ako nakatapos sa elementarya, naundang kay wala na'y magamit. Arang-arang ra ba ako sa klase, ug buot unta ako mulalin sa laing dapit. Basin makatrabaho maadlaw. Ug maoy motungha sa gabi. Wala pa unta ako mabuang sa gugma-gugma. Ang nakababag kay dili masugot ang akong ginikanan, kay babayi ako. Mamiligrong tuktukon kuno sa manok nga itom og ulo. Unsay imong ikasulti niini Manding? Florencia, may katarungan ka ng imong ginikanan sa dili pag-uyon sa imong paglakaw. Bulag kanila kay adunay mga lalaking tigpahimulos sa atong kakuyang dili ang tanan. Labi naghinsayra nila nga ang maong dalaga halayo sa ginikanan. In the next problem, this one refused her sweetheart's proposal because she wanted to study. Manding, dalaga ako, 18 pa. Ug aniya nagtungha sa salay, hay, kining akong trato wala na magtuon ug apurado kaayo nga makingminyo. Ibalibaran ko nga motapos ako una sa pagtuon. Unsay imong katambag ni ini from Lina. Lina, ingna ka ng imong Romeo, nga dili ka mukaon ug tabili. Kay mao daman, unyay inyong isula kung magminyo kamo karon nga wala pa'y kahingoahaan sa panginabuhi. Ang pagminyo sayon, ang pagpuyo sa kaminyoon maoy lisod. So I think, you know the reply, no? That is to equip herself, no? So she would have resources for when she is married. Okay. This young lady intended to put her studies and having a relationship on equal footing. Both she and her sweetheart wanted to study in Manila. Dalaga ako, manding dalaga ako, 20 pa, og aniya ako sa katapusang ang sahay. Ang akong trato atoa motiwa sa pagtuon sa Manila sa pagka-inhenyero mekaniko. Butunta ako moapas kaniya adto ako motungha sa hair science ug igo nga motapos siya ang iyang gitun-an og ingon man usab ako. Usa na lang katuig ang kulang sa among sabot nga magminyo kami. Tambagi ako kung maayo bang moapas ako kaniya from Belly Nances. Tubag. Inday, una. Kung ang imong pag-apas kaniya dili makasamok sa iyang pagtuon. Padayon. Apan kung makasamok gani ikaw sa iyang pagtuon dito, puyo inday, aron siya mulampos. Total inyo damang kaayuhan ang maong paglampos. Kay tinuoray man kaha nga magminyo kamo. Earlier in the previous letters, Banding talks about women having a career. She can have the career similar as men. There are quite a number of letters about what Kabigan think about women having careers. This letter sender wanted to take up nursing. Manding dalaga ako, 17 pa. Ini ako magtungha sa UV, siyudad sa Sugbo. Sa ikatulo pa sa high. Ang tumong kong tunan mao ang nursing, apan kining akong kahigalaan misaway sa maong kurso, kay hugaw ko no. Unsa imo ikasulti ni ini Manding? From Delhi. Delhi. Ang nursing mao ang kurso nga labing bililhon, kay dako kayo ang atong alagad alang sa katilingban. Ug labaw sa tanan sa atong kaugalingong panglawas. Hugaw, baka kana padayon sa imong laraw. Aside from having career, she also encouraged women to go into business. So this one abandoned her studies. So she may have abandoned her studies because she wanted to go into business. Manding dalaga ako, batanon pa. Ania magtungha sa ikaduhang ang sahay. Nagplano ako nga dili na lang musigi sa pagtuon o musulod na lang sa patigayon sa pagbaligyag panapton o uban pa. Unsay imo ikatambag Manding? Lilia, ang patigayon kung dako ang puhunan og duyugan sa inantigong paagi og sa kapalaran, mao'y maka sapian. Sabton nga gikinahanglan gayud ang kahibalo sa bisan unsang buhaton ta ning kinabuhi. Anaa ang akong hukom, ikaw ang bahala. Okay. Right. So continue gyapon no with her studies because dakong kahibalo later on when she goes into business, she would be successful. Note, however, of course, that she does not enforce her advice on those who pose the problem. No? Anaa ang akong hukom, ikaw ang bahala. This young woman stopped schooling and was asking for advice as to her next step. No? Manding dalaga ako, batanon pa. Ilaw na ako sa inahan, kining akong amahan, tigulang na. Mao nga miundang na lang ako sa pagtuon ug naglaraw nga mangita og laing nalaghisapian aron kami mabuhi. Ug maayo bang magminyo na lang hinuon ako aron aduna kami kaabag sa pagpuyo? Tambagi ako. From Dading. Dading, ang Ginoo kanang makagagahom sa tanan mo ingon. Lihok tao sa minatarong kay tabangan ko ikaw. Sabton nga ang Ginoo motabang sa mga buhat nga maayo. Pangitag paagi sa pagpakasapi bisan sa ubos nga trabaho, basta dungganan. Bahin sa pagminyo kung kugihan o buotan ka ng imong kauban, iga kauban, padayon. Apan kung taspukan, puyo dading. Okay. This is more or less the last letter that has something to do with being in a career, having a career from another nursing student. Usa ako kadalaga, 17 pa, o graduada na sa high. But ako magtuon sa nursing sa SI Hospital sa Sugbo. I don't know which hospital this is. Apan ang akong ginikanan mo ay ilang gusto ang dressmaking. Okay, here you go. So you have a conflict as to what course to course no or profession to take. Ang tawo ra ba sa payag dili uyon sa nursing kay halayo kuno. By the way, moingon gani ang tawo sa payag that means the sweetheart, no? It's common then it is a common image or metaphor for the sweetheart. Ang tawo ra ba sa payag dili uyon sa nursing kay halayo kuno. Unsay imo ikatambag niini from Inday. Take note, that's probably why I added this, no? In the reply, Manding says, Inday takuban kini. Manding Karya actually encourage her letter senders if they are shy or they're embarrassed to have their problems printed in Bisaya, they could always ask Manding to put a pseudonym, no, or takuban, no. So they would still write her. Inday takuban kini. Ang maayo unta nga unsay gusto sa mutuon maoy pahiuyunan. Kay ang kadasik sa pagtuon anaa sa kurso nga atong hiayunan. Walay kapuslan ang pagtuon nga wala sa ulo ang gitun-an. Pasabta niini ang imong ginikanan ug kanang imong ehem. Okay. All right. I'd like to present two more letters, but these letters dealt with issues that are different but may still be relevant for us today. Here is one about gossip mongers. A young girl complained of gossip mongers among her neighbors. For the Marites. Maning dalaga ako batanon. Kining akong pangutana dili suliran sa gugma, suliran sa kinabuhi. Kining mga babae ning akong dapit gadaghanang palaliba dili ang tanan. Bisan unsay buhaton sa ilang isigatawo, bantayan og mao kana. Unsay imo ikasulti niini Manding? Katin-awan maarang hatagi ako from Nene of Lahog, Sugbo. Nene, ang ikasulti ko nga mao kana sila ang mga babaeng walay laing buhat. Pagbantay sa lain o pagpanaway. Wala kana sila makaila sa ilang kaugalingon kung unsa sila. Mga gwapa ba o hingpit ba sa tanan? Usay ang hinaway mao ang masinahon. Pasagdi na lang kana sila kay ikaw ilang daoton. Kung ikaw ilang daoton, tarala dayon sa hukmanan aron mo tagam. Okay. Finally, listen to Kabigon's advice on mental health. A lonely orphan asked this question about finding happiness. Manding, dalaga ako, 17 pa. Wala na ako'y ginikanan. Ania nag-anto sa kalisod, mao nga misulod na lang ako sa pagkasulugoon aron mabuhi ug makakwarta man usab. Apan nganong kanunay man ako maguol. Tambagi ako Manding. Tudloi unsaon sa paglipay from Helen. Helen, ang paglipay mao boy usa ka buhat nga labing sayon. Tambong sa bisag unsang kalingawan, piliya ka ng mga katawanan. Ayaw pamati sa mga huni nga mamingaw. Ang mga huning aligri maoy pamatia. Malipay kadayo. Kabigon is a well-known advisor on matters of the heart. Plenty of that we're seeing. Like in my previous presentations, about male letter senders. That was a very common question posed. On this topic, her advice may vary from the personal circumstance of the letter sender, especially on the letter's age. However, she stressed fair play and making a decision that has malig-on nga pasikaran. It is clear, however, that women letter senders do not only implore her help or seek her counsel for these problems alone. As one sender wrote, kining akong pangutana dili suliran sa gugma, suliran sa kinabuhi. Of course, questions on love and relationship would still be part of life, but I think you understand what she means. Now it's something else. No? In relation to living or being in a community. Quite a number of the queries under this category are about the role that a woman had to take in life, whether it was one that she wanted to fulfill or satisfy herself, or one that had to harmonize with the community to which she belongs. In whatever role, Kabigon stressed the importance of education and training in order to become a woman nga hataas ang kahibalo. She emphasized that there was needed for their times. Ning panahon nga sa kabaghuan, ang mga babaye sama na sa lalaki. Masundalo man gani sa gubat, no? Sa panahon sa gubat, kanang imong pangandoy dili kabilinggan sa imong pagkababaye. Busa padayon sa lakang ngadto. On another occasion, she said, she pointed out that the previous generation has to accept this change or the changes. Ina ka ng imong ginikanan nga panahon karon nga kitang mga babaye makig-indig na sa mga lalaki. Tell your parents that it's time for us women to, I should say, vie with men or compete with men. There are lawyers, architects, and many other different occupations that women can hold today. She also promoted the financial freedom for women. Pangit o nagbuhat nga takos hisapian aron makaabag ka sa imong bana sa panginabuhi. Panahon karon nga ang mga asawa kinahanglan dili magsalig sa ilang bana. So find a job that good paying job that pays well so that you can help your husband earn a living. It's now time that wives should not depend on their husbands. Kabigon started and maintained an advice column after World War II or during the Restoration period. And understandably, it was a time for many changes, including the promotion of higher education and a more active role for women in society. As a respected writer, her authority lent validity to the ideas that ushered in a new generation of women who were free to determine who they wanted to be. She then wrote and gave advice at a time when it was most needed. Kompas lang, daghang salamat.
Wow. We have just explored Maria A. Cabigon, a pre-World War II Cebuano writer known for 400 works, including the influential advice column, Panid ni Manding Karya. Despite her prominence, this presentation highlights the limited scholarly attention on her. Focusing on Cabigon's journalism and fiction, it analyzes her response to 756 problems, categorized into love and courtship, marriage timing, and education, reflecting post-World War II societal changes. Cabigon, a respected writer, shaped ideas and provided crucial advice during this transformative period. Thank you, Ms. Gavales, for the insightful lecture. Your
My
expertise
pleasure and
and
honor.
your expertise and clarity made the subject matter engaging and easy to grasp. Now, We've invited Ms. Gabales to address the questions that all of you have shared in the chat box. Our goal is to cover as many of these inquiries as possible within the given time constraint. Looking at the time, let's have 3 questions. Without further delay, let's proceed with the first question. So if you guys have any questions regarding the lecture by Ms. Cabales, feel free to send them in the chat box. You can private message it to me and I will relay it to her. Thank you.
While waiting for the question, again, I would like to express my gratitude for this opportunity to share again about Maria Cabigon, my beloved Maria Cabigon or Mandinkaria.
I've received a question here from
Oh,
Ms. Leia. Considering the variety of topics covered by Mandinkaria, from love, courtship, from love, courtship to education and career choices, how did she contribute to the discourse on women's rights and responsibilities?
Okay. Oh, it was clear, no? I think primary, the primary right that she advocated was really the right to education. You can see that many of the hindrances or considered as other options for women at the time would mean they will not continue with their studies, no? So like parents disagreeing with who they want to marry, or parents not wanting them to study kay I don't know why wala na ko nabasa nabasa diri or na-include diri. Naagyoy mo ingon nga her parents would say daotan kung ang babae hataas og kahibalo, which is very contrary to Mandinkaryas advice most of the time. So I'd like to point out that she herself was not formally educated. She was there was like tutoring from her aunt. But because she read a lot and she started writing early in her life, she also had her education that way. But come to think of it, and I would like to think Mandinkaria would have wanted to continue to higher education had she the opportunity, or had she was if she was allowed, or if there were schools for women at the time. So that would be one. And second, because of the education that you have, no, she also encouraged the women to contribute to society. To the nursing student, she said, "Dako ang atong katabang sa katilingban if you go into nursing. Don't listen to talks about it being hugaw. Unsa bay hugaw ana, no?" To the woman who wanted to be a radio operator because she wants to travel. Exactly why she wanted to be a radio operator, because I suppose there was licensing at the time, or maybe not, but with her certificate or with her diploma as a radio operator, she can apply to be a radio operator in a ship so that she can travel. No, so like right, so that's already like education, the right to hold a career, and the opportunity. But Mandinkaria stresses that this opportunity only comes when you are well equipped. And that means education again, and then again to contribute to the community. She's not saying, however, that if the woman chooses to marry, that's also bad. It's very clear kung bugat sa imong kasing-kasing ang kanang tao sa payag or the sweetheart, kung ganahan ka magminyo, go ahead, no? But then again, it doesn't mean that you also disregard your studies, because as a wife, you clearly can help your husband if you have also attained a higher education. So, klaro kay na nga mga nga gihanay ni Mandinkaria, no? So like I said, no, because of her stature in the community at the time, being the advisor, no, her Bisaya at that time had a bigger re, like, ang readership of Bisaya was greater at the time, no, and so that means that a lot would be reading these advices, pieces of advice from Mandinkaria, and a lot would be listening to her, no, or even following her advice. Uh, I suspect I suspect that many of the letter senders would really want to have their letters published because later on, no, they could always, and I'm pretty sure they show the young woman whose parents disagree with her studies would later on show this. Oh, this is what Mandinkaria said about the matter. Di mo moto ni Mandinkaria. No, so like I said, her stature as a writer lent validity to these ideas, and so it helped make people change their minds about, again, women having an education, women having a career. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you for that, Ms. Gabales. We hope that answers your query, Ms. Leia.
There's another question about her being married. Yes, she was married before the war, but her during the war dito sila ning Bakwit, no? They evacuated to Sibunga. She even had a short story about that, but about being an evacuee in Sibunga, not about her own life, because the story was not autobiographical at all. It had a different character. But anyway, during the war, her husband died. So when so after the war, when she started the panid, when she was asked by Bisaya to be the advice columnist, she was already a widow. No? So I could imagine that she has devoted most of her time as a widow. She has no husband to. She had one daughter, no. But for the most part, as a advice columnist, she was, like, she had a lot of time in her hands, and so I think she really devoted her time to her writing. Right. So I hope that is also answered.
Thank you for
Right.
answering the questions, Gabales.
I think there's a hand being
I
raised.
believe someone is raising their hand, Miss Doris.
Yeah, good morning to one and all. If you notice that my middle name is Cabigon,
Yes.
yeah, it's with the C. I'm now married, that's why I'm a Cañares, but Pandingkaya is actually my grandmother.
Grandmother.
But first before I forget, I would like to thank the Cebuano Study Center for having this lecture on my grandma, and I would also like to thank Ma'am Gabales, no? Because she died in March 1962, but I was born in September of 1962, so I never got the chance to meet her. But the story is this, no? I call her my grandma, but actually she's not the biological grandmother, no? My father, actually si Mandingkaria, had two daughters, no? Si Mami Suling and Tarsila. And my father actually was the son of her husband from another woman.
I know about this story. I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah.
So my dad was about a year old lang when he was left with Mandingkaria, because the biological mother, or my real lola, was I think 14 or 15 years old at time. And so Mandingkaria, true to her being the agony aunt, gave advice to my lola, no, that you're young and you can be married, no, because my lola was married to her. So she advised my lola that you're young, you can still have a life ahead of you, and if you desire, kay si Joe, my father, basig babag, no, babag sa iyahang pag kuan sa iyang kinabuhi. So when ibilin si Joe sa ako, I will be willing to take him. No, so that's why my father was left with Mandinkaria, and he grew up, no, with Mandinkaria. So there were many my two aunts, actually cousins, no, kay they were daughters of the daughter of Mandinkaria, Mami Suling, because ka-age Manila akong papa, so they were always talking about Mandinkaria. And even when I was in elementary and I got into a play, a stage play, and then they were saying, liwat gid na siyang Mandinkaria, kay she is a stage actor, and he was into arts like that. So kana lang, I'm so glad, no, that I have known her works and how she has inspired women. And regarding sa akong tinod nga lola, that was a very good advice from Mandinkaria, because she really, no, had a kanang full life. And in fact, we were surprised kay and Mandinkaria also told my dad. That's why my father said that when he got married to my mom, they really visited my real Lola there in Toledo. She was there because Mandinkaria told him to present your wife, no, to your mother. So that's how good she is, really.
I actually interviewed one of the nieces of Mandinkaria, but it was some time ago, and I have lost the transcript of the. I even forgot her name already. It was at the time when Dr. Erlinda Alburo was still the director of the Cebuano City Center, and she happened to, I mean, the niece of Mandinkaria happened to come along, and she told me about this story, and it's something that I don't want to talk about so much because I don't know how you would feel. I don't. I'm also very glad that I met you today, because I and again, no, I know of this story that she actually that that how we say is the natural son of her husband actually grew up with her. She
Yeah.
she raised him, no, and so
Yeah.
maodi ay to. And so now and now they all already know that story. I don't have the details though, so and I would like to have more details. So I wish
Yeah.
it would be okay if you can give me your contact information so we can talk more about Mandinkaria.
Yeah. Oh, what is unfortunate is my father died already, and also the two aunts, or the two cousins actually, that I had ba, the children of one of her daughters. Katumanggod sila murag historian kaayo sa pamilya ba. So
Mm.
they also died na. So I don't know if I can lend justice to whatever you want to know, no. But kani kanang mga istorya lang from my dad and from my aunts. So yeah, I can give you my number so we can
So
maybe
since
discuss.
this is already out, no, so that is the thing, no. That's how magnanimous she was. When I learned about the story, oh, wow, the fact that she would like it's very tulo niya, but it wasn't like that at all. It was really like a magnanimous decision to raise the son of her husband, na, and etc. So mauna. But thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you also, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. There's another question. I think.
There's another question here by Sir Jed, but I believe the person who asked the question left the meeting. But the question is, Bisaya is the mother tongue in Visayas and Mindanao. It can be understood orally, but I find my students have difficulty in writing Bisaya or Cebuano. How does Kabigon reflect on this issue, if it has?
Okay. One, let me say, it's understandable that Kabigon wrote in Bisaya. It was really, as I mentioned earlier, even in the first slide, she belongs to that period in time called the golden age of Cebuano letters. It's called golden age because at that time, really the medium, well, not all, but many publications would be in Cebuano or Bisaya, no? So Cebuano was at the rise, no? At that time, English wasn't yet like how should I say it now? So when many writers decided to write in Cebuano or Bisaya, this was really like also a sort of like a decision on identity and nationality. At the time, they didn't want to write in Spanish because Spanish, or they, that Spain was already ejected from the country. English wasn't yet at the rise because you have here a generation that wasn't schooled in English. This I'm referring to before the American education system was established. And so what is there to, and Tagalog wasn't, or Filipino wasn't promoted yet. So what is there? That's Cebuano, no? So definitely they would be writing in Bisaya or Cebuano at the time. And so I did not put the translations on the work, but that's also one of the things that I do, translate her works, whether the short story or the advice column, pieces of the entries in the advice column. And so it was in all her writings was in Cebuano, just like many of the writers during her time, no, ihang ka generation. Okay. Also, second, Manding Karya in writing at that ang ihang, you will notice also no nga her Binisaya had a different may be spelled, her words may be spelled differently. No? Because at the time Cebuano wasn't, there was no codified like or there was no manual for spelling or writing in Cebuano, and sometimes like they would vary the spellings, so would vary, like the word kalibutan would be U, but sometimes I would see it as O, no? More importantly, she also wrote a Bisaya that had terms that are not in use anymore today. So if you notice in the presentation, I also had to explain nga, ang tao sa payag would actually mean ang uyab. Or they would not even call it uyab. They would say trato, which I translate into sweetheart. No? They would use a term trato. Okay, so she wrote a kind of Bisaya that was common at the time but may not be understood anymore today. So that's a second difficulty. No? Now, as to students learning, having a difficulty in writing Bisaya Cebuano, it's probably sa anad dragina, no? In a class that like I'm teaching, for example, Cebuanon literature. I have one class of Cebuanon literature. True, I do present works that have translations, and many times students will really read the translations. But I always encourage them. Like in the class, for example, when a work is discussed, I would be discussing the Bisaya version. It's up to them to find the counterparts of the translations are given to them. It's available to them, but the discussion will be on the Cebuano original version. No? So, and I tell them it's because I want them to get used to it if they're not used to it already. The reactions would vary. Of course, they cannot go against my rule that what is to be discussed would be the Cebuano version. But the reactions would vary as to, okay, miss, we'd like to learn all these terms as well. Okay, kanang pauso sa Biami. And so they would learn a new term and ipauso na nila sa ilang social media. But they were also like, I really have a hard time understanding because Cebuano is not my mother tongue kind of student sila. English is my mother tongue kind of student sila. So, but in the end, they understood that the reason why they're taking that course and the reason why that course is a general education course is because one of the things that my university is promoting is the local culture, and that is and Cebuano literature written especially in Cebuano is part of that local culture. So I guess kana lang i-ground lang nato ang students with understanding na there is it's really part of the culture, no, and to have a handle on the language would mean they open themselves up to ideas that are associated, affiliated, connected with that language. No? And Mandinkaria and the works of Mandinkaria would probably, renewal of would mean a renewal of your understanding or your handle of the Cebuano language. I hope I understand. I was able to answer the question.
We hope that answers your question, Sir Jed. And so, ladies and gentlemen, while we would love to address all your questions, we regretfully acknowledge the time constraints. For any additional inquiries, we encourage you to visit the Cebuano Studies Center page on Facebook, where we'll gladly forward them to our distinguished speaker. Now, let's express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed speaker to commemorate her invaluable contributions. We've prepared a certificate of appreciation. I invite Mr. Rosette to come forward and elaborate on the contents of the certificate.
So hello again, everyone. Hello, Ms. Cabales. We would like to thank you once again for accepting our invitation and for sharing your knowledge and expertise with our audience today. So to show our humble appreciation, we would like to present you with this certificate of appreciation. So the University of San Carlos Cebuano Study Center presents this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Joanna Lynn P. Gabales for her lecture entitled Mandinkarya's Advice to Young Women from Panid ni Mandinkarya, the advice column of Maria A. Cabigon in the Bisaya magazine. During the Vicente Soto Lecture Series 2023, given this 30th day of December via Zoom, signed by the Director of the Cebuano Studies Center, Dr. Hope Sabanpanyu, and the Vice President for Academic Affairs of USC, Father Jasuraj Antonia Pen. And the same certificate of appreciation is also awarded to our very enthusiastic moderator, Mr. Jan Dasig, for serving as moderator for our lecture this morning, signed also by the Director of the Cebuano Studies Center and the Vice President for Academic Affairs. And I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Doris. So Ms. Doris, thank you for attending our lecture today and for giving us additional insights as to the life of Mandinkarya. So thank you very much, Ms. And thank you to all our participants today.
Once again, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to Ms. Gabales for her invaluable contributions to the Vicente Soto Lecture Series. As we approach the end of this exceptional session, I'd like to kindly remind all the participants to fill out the evaluation form to receive your certificate of participation. You can find the link in the chat box.